Good morning and welcome to Unfiltered Vision News. Good morning and welcome to Unfiltered Vision News, bringing you the news unfiltered Monday through Friday. So, this is our prayer with Friday. Thank you so much for joining us. And let's start with honoring God with our body. God, please guard our mind and our thoughts. God, please help us to fix our thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. So, we will think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. God, please protect our ears and help us listen to your voice. God, help me to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. God, please protect our eyes from sin's damage. God, we make a covenant with our eyes not to look lustfully. God, please speak life over our mouth. God, set a guard over my mouth. Lord, keep watch over the doors of my lips. God, please help our hands to serve generously. God, please help us to do good to everyone, and especially to those who belong to our family in the faith. God, please protect our reproductive organs and help us to honor you, God, with purity. God, please help us to honor you with our bodies. And God, please protect our feet as we walk along your path. God, let your word be a lamp for our feet and a light on our path. And thank you so much for joining us here this morning on this prayer with Friday. Lots to pray about. Obviously, we've covered a lot of topics this week, and I think the biggest topic, in my opinion, is voting. It is just we're going to get into some videos that are talking about this and some candidates. And like I said before, the Democratic Party, they've really cannibalized themselves and they have backed themselves into a corner because now they're finding themselves supporting a candidate that they've been screaming that other people are being. You can't make this stuff up. It's just playing out in real time. So let's get to our trending topics on X. Now, I'll just read the topics. There's one I'm going to get into. So, Steve Hilton in California, slow moving gubernatorial primary count. Yeah, he's still leading by a small margin. But hey, those mail in ballots, you guys, those mail in ballots, it is a disgrace what is happening in California. And I really am praying for the state and that they just start to do right by the people. But this is what a tyrannical government looks like. Let's just say it like it is. Let's stop hiding and pretending. This is a tyrannical government. They are ruling over the people. They are not serving the people. Period. Period. Let's just, it's time. Okay. To just say the quiet part out loud. Now, Guterres warns 2015 to 2025 hottest years on record for World Environment Day. The world has always been hot, especially if you're close to the equator. Let's just keep it 100. But you know why it's hotter? Because you keep cutting down the trees and you keep replacing it with cement. What do you think is going to happen? It's not climate change, it's individuals industrializing in places where they shouldn't be, number one. And number two, you're excessively cutting down trees that shouldn't even be cut down. What are we talking about? If you live in a concrete jungle, yeah, it's going to be hot. There are no trees. Really? I mean, some of this stuff is like really simple. It's real common sense. Now, this last one is the Senate rejects Save America Act voter ID push in budget vote. So I wanted to check that out. Now it says here the Senate voted 48 to 50 against waiving budget rules for Senator Lindsey Graham's amendment to add Save America Act provisions to an immigration funding bill, which he should never do. Are you serious right now? Why are you adding this to anything that has to deal with money? Because if this was separate, which it should be, from any funding bill, it's not going to hold it up. What are you doing, Lindsey? What are you doing? Yeah, there's that. Falling short of the 60 votes needed. Yeah, because anything to do with money has to be 60 votes. So, Lindsey, you know what? We see what you're doing. It's trash. So, the act requires documentary proof of U.S. citizenship, like a birth certificate or passport, for federal election registration, plus photo ID at polls and curbs absentee voting. Supporters cite strong public backing from polls showing 80% approval for voter ID, while critics argue it burdens 9% of eligible voters without easy document access. Senator Mike Lee plans another attempt soon amid GOP divisions and midterm pressures. Here's the thing. The 9% that are complaining are either individuals who have chosen to change their gender or try to say they're something they're not. Let's just keep that 100. Okay, not going to work for you, right? If you were born as Bob, you need to vote as Bob. You can't vote as Susan, okay? You don't match your birth certificate. The other people that may not have birth certificates are people who came here illegally, and they shouldn't even be voting in our elections at all anyway. And people that are not naturalized shouldn't be voting in our in our elections anyway. But you know what? They do have ID because they get driver's licenses in certain states, and they get ID cards, even though they can't even speak the language. What are we talking about? Y'all are wild. So wild. Now, here again, it just says Republicans who voted against it. Tom Tillis, yeah, he voted against getting the Save America Act through. What are y'all doing? We've had it. I don't know about you guys, but as an American citizen, I'm over this nonsense. You have proven to the American people that you do not care. And this is Republicans and Democrats. This is over. This is over. This next election cycle is going to be a referendum on all of you. I'm just telling people now, if you are interested in running with the Redemption Party, we need 50 senators. We need 50 people from all over the country to run redemption. Okay? USARedemptionParty.com. I personally do all of the interviews and all of the applications. And yes, you have to have an application to run with our party. You can't just go out there and say, oh, I'm running. No, you're not. We will disavow you in 2 seconds. And it'll be me because I'm the founder. So if you would like to run, we have a process. You need to go to USARedemptionParty.com because we need to get these people out of office. They do not care. I don't know what it's going to take, but this destabilization of our country, it's not going to stand We're not going to tolerate it. We're just not. We're not doing that. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Now let's get into some of our topics on all sides. So, a British teen death sparks protests, split media narratives on race and policing. So, apparently, there's a protest erupted in Britain this week after police footage from December released showing 18-year-old Henry Nowak being handcuffed in Southampton as he lay dying from multiple stab wounds. Left and right-leaning media split on whether. Now, I saw parts of the video. It was on Laura Ingraham, on her broadcast. She showed it, and the young man that they had handcuffed, he had been stabbed. The police, instead of caring for his wounds or making sure that he was okay, they were literally holding him down and handcuffing him while he was bleeding out. That they murdered that young man, the person that stabbed him, and the police. And there needs to be some accountability. I can understand why the protests are happening right now. This is, I'm telling you, this is worldwide. This is worldwide. The governments have become tyrannical and they are not serving the people. It's time for a movement, you guys. It really, really is. And this is interesting too. James Fishback and the growing prominence of right-wing faction. A new generation is disillusioned by elites and establishment figures associated with Trump, and a frustrated conservative faction wants to see real populist change. They do, because they're tired of the same old, same old. Again, why I started the Redemption Party, because see, we're not based in ideology. We have tenets to our party, which are fiscal responsibility, limiting federal government to empower local government one community at a time, period. This is a movement, not a monument. And see, these other two parties have become monuments, and they are just basking in the glory of themselves with their ideologies that help no one. And now they become completely tyrannical. They have. And they are not serving the people under our republic as it stands. And it is going to stand. You're not going to tear a republic down. You're not. You will go first. Okay, we will move you out of office before we allow you to destroy this country. We're done with the nonsense. Now, why are people protesting Delaney Hall, and who was backing them? Yeah, there was a video with Nick Sortor, and he was walking through one of the tents. They had catered food. They had lasagna. Who has lasagna at a protest? I mean, we know. We already know who's backing a lot of this. And allegedly, I'll just say allegedly, a lot of this is backed by, of course, non-governmental organizations. Yes. Ooh, how do they get their money? Oh, yeah, our tax dollars. And they'll claim education, and they'll claim that they are raising awareness. But this is where our tax dollars are going. And they're also funded by other millionaires and billionaires that want to see the destabilization of this country. They want it to fall so bad. They do, because that way they can say, hey, we need a new form of government. We need a one world government. This is what we're here, y'all. We're here. And this is what we have to pray about. Of course, there's the Los Angeles mayoral race. It is going to be a runoff, and it should be between Karen Bass and Spencer Pratt. But a lot of people are saying it could be the incumbent councilwoman. Why? Because they're still counting ballots. They leave a whole week for ballots to get in. Yes, you heard me. But let's get into that, because Laura Ingraham, she covered this on her show.
Hostage, day 2. That's the focus of tonight's angle. All right, it's been 44 hours and 29 seconds since the polls closed in California, and the state will still not give us the complete results or declare winners in neither of the marquee contests, the governor's race and the LA mayoral race. But someone's celebrating. As most homeowners in the Palisades still haven't even begun to rebuild, the incumbent liberal is making stupid TikTok videos. Mayor Bass is in a good mood because she knows the voting system in LA County's got her back. The longer this count goes on, the worse Republicans usually do in the final vote tally. I wonder why. Now, let's check in with the California Secretary of State, Ms. Shirley N. Weber, Ph.D.
Voting may be over, but the job of counting your ballots continues throughout the days and weeks ahead. In California, we offer voters many ways to vote, and it takes time to ensure that every ballot is counted, every ballot is accounted for, and that every voter only voted once. Our office updates election results daily on our website, but our office does not declare a winner until results are certified.
Did you hear this? We're supposed to be happy because ballots will be counted not for hours, not for days, for weeks. Yeah, and their argument is that the laws were written this way, whereby votes can arrive 7 days after Election Day and then counted for 13 days after Election Day, only because they're being extra meticulous. Please. To most fair observers, the opposite is true. And this is the problem with mass mail-in ballots. They erode public faith in the electoral process because there's too much time and too much uncertainty between the closing of the polls and when the state actually announces the winners. And if late on election night, a Republican is leading by a decent but not a huge margin, a certain media narrative will inevitably begin circulating. We'll hear about how tranches of votes are arriving and then speculation that this could be enough to help the Democrat who trailed on election night bridge the gap. It's kind of an exciting come-from-behind story.
We're going to be getting more ballots tomorrow, a big chunk. I think the biggest will probably be on Friday. I think a lot of counties were even holding off entirely to just do one big drop of ballots on Friday, and it might be Friday that we really get clarity in this race. It's possible that Friday we'll really know whether there's enough runway for Steyer to make this up.
Runway. He says this all with a straight face. Why is it a given, by the way, that ballots arriving after Election Day, if mail-in ballots are so cool and great and everyone uses them, why is it mostly Democrats? And disproportionately now, Steyer's voters. If he runs for president, Governor Newsom will have to defend this purposely convoluted system before a nationwide audience. Can't wait to see that. As of now, he's claiming that there's a lot of misinformation floating around about California's election, including from the president, President Trump. And yes, for the record, we wish the votes were counted faster, too, he wrote. Well, they're not counted promptly or faster because your party never wanted them to be counted promptly. For the past 21 hours, the AP has reported that only 56% of the vote has been counted. Oh, sorry, wait, it's actually up to 58% now? Oh, 2% more? Now, what's the reason for that? Why are they not telling us the vote counts, especially in individual counties? So don't you get the feeling that they want to make this so confusing to most people that they just end up giving up trying to figure it all out?
Yeah, and that's the point. That's the hope. This is ridiculous. All the technology we have, and first of all, for mail-in ballots and absentee, because absentees are mailed in, and predominantly they are for individuals that may be happening to work overseas or are military, right? When they're deployed to different areas, either around the country or around the world, so they can vote in our American elections. Those are the two. Absentee ballots are our form of making sure that people can still vote. Provisional ballots is another way to make sure people can vote, right? California needs to be thoroughly, and when I say thoroughly investigated, I'm talking about a whole, what have you been doing for the past 10 years in every election? Because, let's not forget about the helicopter right? That's going to bring in ballots. Bringing in ballots by helicopter? What about the ballots that were burned in one of the ballot boxes? What are y'all doing? I mean, we all know you want to cheat. We all know you're a disgrace. We all know that you never want to do anything by procedure. Weeks to count ballots? Are you kidding me? The mail-in ballots should be the first ballots to be counted. The reason why they wait is because they're like, well, we just got to make sure we get in all the ballots. Because in one state, guess what? They found in a dumpster predominantly Republican and independent ballots. Yeah, y'all can look that up. So what's going to happen this time? What's going to happen this time? And Friends Play and Direct, hi, good morning to you. And good morning, Spud McKenzie. Thank you so much for always joining. And amen, right back at you. And Save America 8416 says, Donald Trump is saving America. You know, he's doing the best he can. He's not a perfect human being. He really isn't. But he's doing the best he can, you know. But what I can say for these local government officials and these state government officials, it's really showing who they are. And part of me is glad that this nonsense is happening, because guess what? If we keep putting these people back in office, that's on us. We have to vote better. We really, really do. Now, I'm going to play this next video by Brandon Lehman. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but he makes some really good points about what's happening with the Democratic Party right now.
It's never been a worse time to be a Democrat. CNN just dropped a cornucopia of data showing that the Democrat Party is imploding from all directions. And any hope of having a remotely successful midterms has effectively gone up in smoke. As always, like the video and subscribe to the channel. But let's start with CNN admitting that Gavin Newsom's gerrymandering scheme in California has officially backfired.
6th congressional district right now. This is one of the districts that was redrawn because Democrats thought it would be a good pickup opportunity. Kevin Kiley is the incumbent. He's an independent now, but he was a Republican, and he's definitely not a Democrat. And the first two people in this race right now, and the top two advance, are the independent and the Republican, not the Democrat. Still only 50% counted right now. But how nervous are Democrats here that they might be boxed out of this district they drew as a pickup?
Yeah, this race actually is causing some unexpected heartburn among Democratic strategists. And I think it is because you see the fraction of the vote, because there are so many candidates, including so many Democrats that hopped into this new district that Democrats thought would be theirs to pick up.
So Gavin Newsom's brilliant plan to disenfranchise Republicans in California in the name of protecting and preserving democracy has actually invigorated voters to become more aggressive in voicing their opposition to their Democrat overlords. And the 2024 election, and most recently the California gubernatorial election, are showing a clear rightward shift in Democrat strongholds. The Democrat monopoly in California is predicated on widespread voter fraud and institutional election interference, and even that isn't enough anymore, because voters are now being presented with two very clear and very different options. On one hand, you have far left progressive Democrats who have fully embraced men and women's sports, open drug use in the parks, homeless encampments as a human right, soft on crime, defund the police ideology that makes everywhere unsafe. And on the other hand, you have candidates who aren't even particularly conservative, they're just running on a common sense platform. But the further Democrats move to the left, the more common sense seems like extremist ideology. And that is creating a massive divide in the Democrat Party as voters beg them to return to the middle and return to common sense. Take a look.
Are there signs of that this reflects we want you to be more left or more center or more right?
Yeah, this is the big problem, which is Democrats aren't sure what direction they want their party to go. Democrats want their party to move left. 28%, not move at all. 18%, move center. 47%. This is a party divided where they're not actually giving a clear message of where they want their party to go. The one thing I will say is 61% of all voters want their party to move to the center. So if all of a sudden Democrats are actually going to move to the left, which is not what their party wants. That will actually upset the rest of the electorate. The only thing that really unites Democrats right now is they are very upset with Donald Trump. And I think the candidates who are able to actually capture that, that's the candidates who are going to advance the general election.
So while the Democrat establishment is
Okay, so I have to jump in real quick. This is wild. This man is going to be gone. He's only going to be here till 2028. Like, stop. People that use their platform is like, I just can't stand Donald Trump. He's going to be gone. What are you going to do then? How are you going to make your money? Because you made your money in YouTube, like trashing this guy. He's going to be gone. What are you going to do then? You're just going to find stuff about him to just talk about so everybody can just, like have a whole hate love fest. What are you doing? Stop.
is solidifying transgenderism, open borders, and communism as the core tenets of their platform, the average Democrat voter is begging them to return to normalcy, to return to sanity. And this reality couldn't be more apparent than with far-left podcaster Hassan Piker. Every single far-left communist he had on his platform has either lost to a Republican or a more moderate Democrat. And even a black woman Democrat strategist on CNN admits that the Democrat Party diving headfirst into radical leftism is destroying the party.
I think we have lost the plot on authenticity. I think Graham Plattner is cosplaying working class. He wears it like a Halloween costume, and that has been placed on him by the same people who have run a lot of progressive candidates across the nation. In this pursuit of getting to know the everyman, we keep picking these people who I think show the worst parts of society. If I am to believe that Graham Plattner can relate to everyday Americans, then that means I am to believe that everyday Americans are okay with Nazi tattoos because they get them accidentally when they're drunk, or because they served in the military. They have very regressive views on race and on gender. I just cannot accept the fact that to gain the working class, we have to dress up people who show the lowest of our values.
Smash the like button. She is totally right. The Democrat Party is literally on its deathbed. They are so completely and totally captured by the Zohran Mamdanis and the AOCs that they are dragging the party to the far left against the wishes of the voters. And they're banking on voters having Trump derangement to the same extent that they do, that they're willing to back and support extremely flawed candidates no matter what. They're running Islamists, they're running Nazis, they're running full-blown communists because their party is just, we hate America.
The problem's piling up for Democrats in New York City as well, where a Mamdani-backed candidate for Congress now being exposed for her shocking views of America and her views of fellow Democrats. The New York Post uncovering now deleted social media posts from Daria Liza Avalos Chevalier. One calls the United States an effing disgrace. Another says to F Kamala Harris.
The only thing they're offering their voters is a bloody communist revolution and a complete destruction of the status quo. And they're demonizing any candidate who's offering safety, clean streets, and economic prosperity as a far-right extremist fascist. And the reason they keep running these contrived, inauthentic candidates time and time again is because they are truly uninterested in what the voters want. They have an agenda that they expect the voters to get behind under the threat of shame, name-calling, and ostracization. And now this elitist, authoritarian attitude has caused the Democrat Party to be more unpopular with their own party than any time in history. Watch.
Joe Biden, back in 2024, put in arguably the worst presidential debate I have ever seen. And yet 53% of Democrats were actually satisfied with Biden as the nominee after that debate. The majority were satisfied. And yet today, a lower percentage, 46%, are actually satisfied with the party. So the Democratic Party, according to the Democratic voters, well, their pissed offness, if I could say that, has never been higher.
That is a fascinating comparison.
Yeah.
That really is.
It really puts it in the context just how upset Democrats are right now.
Okay, so how upset are they? How do Democrats feel about Democrats in Congress specifically?
Yeah, I feel like we're turning into the Tonight Show here. Okay, how upset are they in Congress, right? So you see this 46% who are satisfied with the party, the majority who are dissatisfied with the party. Again, this 46% lower than they were satisfied with Biden as the nominee after the worst debate performance of all time. And you can just see it right here. I mean, Democrats' net approval of congressional Democrats. Look at this. In October of 2025, right, during that shutdown, that first shutdown, plus 22 points on the net approval rating. So Democrats, okay, fairly satisfied with Democrats in Congress. Today, though, look at that. That is an over 30-point drop, a decline right into the ocean right there, minus 9 points. And I will note, it had never been negative. Democrats had always had a positive net approval rating of their own party in Congress in every Congress before this one. But now what we're seeing is consistent numbers across the board where Democrats are underwater. Congressional Democrats are underwater with their own party.
Now, let me be clear. Everything isn't perfect over here in Republican land. We still have John Thune who refuses to pass the SAVE Act. But the Democrat Party is completely fractured. It's like two separate parties existing with the same name. They have the loud, outspoken, overly offended far left that only wants a communist revolution. And then there's the silent majority who simply want their kids to be able to play at the park without being flashed by some crazy homeless person, and don't want to step in human feces while they're out enjoying the town, but are afraid to publicly voice their opinion because they'll get crucified by the group as being a Nazi. So you know what these people are going to do? They're just going to vote Republican and not tell anybody about it. They're not going to tell their friend group. They're not going to tell their coworkers.
Now, I'm going to stop the video right there, and I'll leave the rest of it because we got to get out of here. But I just wanted to say good morning to Pierre Sislar. So hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Good morning. And then Spud McKenzie says, gourmet podcast. Thank you so much for that. And thank you so much for joining me this morning. And make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I'm here every day, Monday through Friday, starting at 7 a.m. And today is our Prayer with Friday. Now, in that video, he does go on to talk about some candidates, a candidate in particular that the Democratic Party is supporting that is they're allegedly saying this person is a Nazi based on a tattoo they got, based on, just some things that they've done in their past. You know what? In my opinion, what they're going to do is because this person was prior military, and I'm just going to say allegedly, they will blame it on PTSD and they'll say, oh, we need to feel sorry for him. But should we be putting somebody like that who is I won't say allegedly unstable, but just they are not fit mentally to really handle the stress of being a politician, right? And that's okay because it can be very stressful. But why are you pushing for a person who truly does not show the mental acuity and fitness to be in office? That's a big question for the Democrats. You want power for the sake of power. And, the people, they're just going to have to deal with it. And it's a backlash on the Democratic Party right now. As you can see, the people aren't going to stand for it. And the people are not. We're not robots. And we're not your slaves. And you don't rule over us. You are supposed to serve. And if you are not serving, you need to be removed from office. It's real plain and simple. That's it. It's really easy. So with that, let's get into our prayer for Prayer with Friday. So God, thank you so much for this day. Thank you so much for Prayer with Friday. And really, we are praying for cover and Thanksgiving going into the weekend. Thank you so much for preserving our lives, waking us up this morning in our right mind. I pray that people are getting back and forth to work safely, protecting their children. People are going on vacations. There's just so much going on, Father, in the political climate right now, God. My prayer is that through all of this, that this actually wakes everyone up and it brings us closer together instead of dividing us more. And then we start to see what is really going on with the current individuals that we've put in office, Father, and really looking at, okay, it is time to put better people in office, not because the letter next to their name, not because of the party, but because the person can actually do the work, God. And we're just so thankful for everything that you're doing for us. Again, we're praying for protection going into the weekend, and we're definitely praying for the 250th anniversary. There have been so many societies when they get to this age that things do start to fall apart and destabilization begins. But Father, we know that you are greater than anything. And we know that you can save this nation. And it's in your Son, Jesus Yeshua's name we pray. Amen. So guys, thank you so much for joining me here on Prayer with Friday. We'll be back on Monday for our recap at the beginning of the week. And remember, stay well, stay focused, and stay unfiltered. We'll see you in the next one.